This is 3 News Daily.
Hello everyone, welcome back to 3 News Daily on this very chilly Thursday, May 18th. It is a cold one out there. Thanks for being here for your top stories from around Northeast Ohio. We're starting off with an update this afternoon where a parole board has decided that a man who's been behind bars for nearly 40 years for killing a Shaker Heights woman will be released. During a hearing on Wednesday, the board determined Alexander Bayless will be released on July 17th. Now, he was 18 years old when he murdered 57-year-old Marsha McClellan back in 1985. Bayless pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison at that time. He was first eligible for parole back in 2015. Now, the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office is challenging the decision to release him. Moving now to new developments in the case of Cleveland EMT Lachelle Jordan, who turned up last week after having gone missing. Jordan disappeared for 5 days before suddenly reappearing at an East Side convenience store. Police are still keeping this case under wraps, but here's what we know related to a man who was accused of stalking Jordan. Those charges have been dropped against Michael Stennett, who's accused of rape and abduction in a separate case, a case which Jordan was scheduled to testify in before she disappeared. Officials say the stalking charges were dropped because of inconsistent evidence. We will continue to follow this story for you as it develops. Now, in other news, 11 men have been indicted on state racketeering charges after a major bust of a car theft ring here in Northeast Ohio. Prosecutors say the group was behind 86 cars being stolen that all together are worth more than $5 million. This is a story we've been following for the past 5 months, and Lena Lai has the details now.
I have not seen a similar incident where
it's a crime spree Cuyahoga prosecutors have never seen before. For the last 5 months, we've shown you theft after theft after theft.
Don't you move!
Of high-end cars at dealerships across Northeast Ohio, Mercedes, Porsche, even a truck owned by Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson. Thieves casing dealerships by day, then returning at night to break into the offices to steal the keys to the cars.
The tools these individuals used and had at their disposal, the communication within the group, and the frequency of the break-ins made it clear that these individuals are part of an organized crime ring.
11 men face 142 counts, including charges of racketeering and grand theft. And like a vast majority of auto theft, the crimes led to other, often violent crime,
including an assault on a police officer that occurred on January 5th, 2023, and a drive-by shooting.
A total of 26 businesses were hit across 11 Ohio counties. The most impacted, Cuyahoga County, where cars were stolen in 9 cities worth more than $1.5 million.
this will not be tolerated.
For that reason, Cuyahoga prosecutors are handling the cases and hoping to send a message.
The last thing they wanted to have done is $90,000 cars driven off their lots. So I think there has been a lesson learned in the automotive dealership community, but also that, as we always say, we will continue to look, we will continue to hunt, we will find and hold those responsible for committing the crimes in our community.
Now, officials say 5 of the 11 suspects were arrested yesterday. We know they're still looking for at least 2 people. This investigation is ongoing, and prosecutors say more arrests are expected. Now, in Norton on Wednesday, police responded to a single-car accident on I-76 East and found the car's driver had been shot several times. The victim, now identified as 40-year-old George Jensen, was taken to a hospital where he died. Officials say there was a road rage incident between Jensen and another driver before the shooting. The shooter, driving a Camaro, fired multiple shots at Jensen's car as it drove past. Norton police are now asking that you please call them if you have any information about this incident. Now, the fight to stop fatal drug overdoses in Ohio is now getting a new weapon from the state. When you're stopping at a Turnpike service plaza, drivers can now pick up a potentially life-saving medication. It's called naloxone. It can reverse the effects of an opioid overdose. This is possible because of a partnership between the Ohio Turnpike and Governor Mike DeWine's Recovery Ohio initiative. Recovery Ohio says counties were seeing an increase in overdoses at service plazas.
It was another opportunity to hopefully give Ohioans and visitors to our state the safety and the peace of mind to know that this medication is available.
Now, if you need naloxone, just look for a wall cabinet when entering a service plaza. So inside you'll find the drug and everything you need to administer it. There's no charge. It is totally free. All right, now we have an update for you on a train that derailed in Medina County Tuesday night. It shut down a major road in Spencer Village for 13 hours, and those roads are back open today. The sheriff's office says a few empty coal cars came off the tracks around 11 p.m. and no toxic chemicals were involved in this derailment. This is something obviously top of our minds because of that Norfolk Southern derailment. Now we know this wasn't a Norfolk Southern train. It was actually from the Wheeling and Lake Erie Railway Company, and thankfully we can tell you no one was hurt. Officials are still investigating the cause of the crash, but they're calling it a minor derailment. All right, zooming out now to consumer news in Montana, which is the first state to ban the social media platform TikTok. The governor signed a bill into law yesterday restricting downloads of this very popular social media app. The legislation makes it illegal for app stores to give users the option to download TikTok and illegal for TikTok to operate within the state. Now, all of this brings us to our question of the day. With Montana outlawing the use of TikTok, at least for the moment, we want to know, are you still using TikTok or are you letting your kids use it? Post your comment on the WKYC Facebook page or take our poll in the 3 What's New Facebook group. We'll talk about it during What's New at 4 o'clock. Also during What's New at 4 o'clock, I'll have a Legally Speaking segment when we sort of break down the nuts and bolts of this, the fines involved, questions about enforcement, and also the challenges that are almost certainly, I would say actually certainly coming against this Montana law. The ACLU has already come out and said that they'll be challenging this on a First Amendment basis. So we'll talk about that on What's New as well. Now, one of the nation's longest running road races in America, the Cleveland Marathon, is happening this weekend. And this year, organizers had to switch up the route that people had gotten used to, and those changes are getting some backlash from people posting on social media. Carmen Blackwell maps it all out for us.
This year's Cleveland Marathon has a new course for runners to follow. The new route was revealed back in March, and race executive director Jack Staff tells 3 News those changes had to be made to accommodate construction on Lake Avenue in Lakewood.
What people have to understand, we don't have total control over this. We have to then present it to the city, and it's a negotiation on what we can do and what we can't do.
Making this year's route entirely within Cleveland city limits, unlike years in the past where parts of the race traveled through neighboring communities like Lakewood.
We have to put 26 miles together in a little radius. And so what we did is we talked to different running groups to get their impression of it. And then we said, let's make this a Cleveland-centric course.
The changes have gotten a lot of backlash on social media. On Twitter, West Park runners said, quote, "It's one of the worst marathon courses I've ever seen." Or Wrestle Jasmine writing, quote, "Looks like someone gave a red crayon to a 2-year-old and said, draw an alligator." And Lily Potter, 130, said, quote, "Wow, there's a lot of places that they're going to have to watch closely to keep people going in the right direction. Way too many crossovers," end quote. Staff dismisses the claims and says regardless of the race's new route, the Boston Marathon qualifying race still upholds its reputation as the best scenic tour of the city.
We bring in almost $15 million of economic impact for Northeast Ohio.
Now, as Carmen showed us, the new course runs through Cleveland staples, like by Brown Stadium, by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Great Lakes Science Center, Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, and Progressive Field. Then it moves on to passing the Christmas Story House in Tremont through Ohio City and back to downtown Cleveland. This Saturday is the 5 and 10K race, and then the half marathon and the marathon kickoff Sunday at 7 a.m. If you head to WKYC, we actually have interactive route maps for each of those races as well. So if you're worried about those crossovers, you can check that out, as well as a link to a schedule of marathon events this year. Now, this week marked Vascular Birthmark Awareness Day, and this is something about 1 in 10 kids are born with, including a 7-year-old girl in Rocky River, and now she is inspiring her peers by encouraging them to love themselves exactly as they are. And who better than Lindsay Buckingham to bring us that story?
Spend just a few minutes with 7-year-old Reagan Massey.
I like the animals.
And it's easy to see her independent spirit.
There's one right here and right here.
As a first grader at Rocky River's Goldwood Primary School, the friendships she's made
This is my wall of cards.
began with kindness.
Dear Reagan, I love your Polka dots. You are special.
Reagan's polka dots appear every time she undergoes pulse dye laser treatments for her vascular birthmarks.
I don't hear anything funky in there, so that's good.
Like the one she's receiving today at Cleveland Clinic Children's.
See, you know mine.
It's something she's embraced since she was born.
Everyone has something different about them.
That's a really good point. Like, if they don't have birthmarks, maybe they have, like...
freckles.
Right.
Or glasses.
Yes.
We were very unequipped parents, did not know what we were doing, and when she was born, she was covered head to toe in full birthmarks, particularly her face.
While some kids with vascular birthmarks have other medical issues, Reagan was fine otherwise. The only thing that mattered to her parents, Megan and Mike Massey, was her happiness.
There's lots of questions that people have, especially young kids are curious when they meet her. And so being able to help people understand what birthmarks are and how to, talk to a kid and make them feel special that has one is really powerful to us.
Polka dots. That's pretty cool.
Right after the Masseys moved here from Wisconsin, Reagan had a scheduled treatment.
She kept asking, what are the kids gonna think? They're gonna think I look like a freak. She looks pretty banged up after the treatment. She's bruised all over. So we just gave her teacher a word of warning and left it there.
But that's not where the school left it.
Every kid at the school was invited to wear polka dots the day Reagan came back.
A polka dot day, just for Reagan.
So she showed up at school. She didn't know this was gonna happen. All the kids are in polka dots. Her teacher decorated the door, and it just completely changed the whole context for her. We are so grateful, and we'll never forget that the rest of our lives, that happened for her.
It's the kind of gesture that makes the whole family want to give back by sharing Reagan's story and resources with other parents.
One of the most valuable places for us to look was the Vascular Birthmark Foundation. They have just so much great information and community.
For this family, the most inspiring part of their journey is Reagan herself.
She's been the little spitfire she is. Anybody, if she rides in the car, she'll tell them everything that's going on in her day, and that's exactly how we hope she will be forever. So she's her own champion, which is fantastic.
So if someone says you're different, that's true. That's what makes you you. And if you have a birthmark, well, you should feel proud of yourself.
Lindsay Buckingham, 3 News.
What a special little girl Reagan is, and her family says she's also a dedicated Make-A-Wish volunteer and loves giving back to other kids overcoming challenges. If you'd like to learn more about vascular birthmark resources, we have a link on WKYC.com. Now this week is also National Police Week, so the Cleveland Police Department paid tribute to its fallen officers in their badge case ceremony this morning. This ceremony honors officers by enshrining their badges in the Greater Cleveland Police Officers Memorial Site, and then afterwards they held their annual parade and memorial service at Police Memorial Square in Huntington Park. A very important day, definitely, for our officers, and we thank them for the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you for being with us for today's edition of 3 News Daily. Everyone have a wonderful day. We'll see you back here tomorrow with more top stories from around Northeast Ohio.